All right, hey everybody, and welcome to the 90-minute art challenge. I'm your host Bobby Chu, and I also have on here my co-host Masei Seki.
Yay!
Awesome. And how's this all work? Well, let me show you. So, first, what is the 90-minute art challenge? Okay, so it is you go to tumblr.com and you search up 90-minute art challenge, and there you'll find each of the images, each of the inspiration for each challenge. Today's challenge comes from Unsplash. You can see the person's username right there, and this is home. This is where Miss A and I
Mm-hmm.
live in Toronto, Canada. So today we're going to be painting a little taste of home. All right.
Yeah.
The other thing is that when you're done your challenge, you can go ahead and you can upload your challenge uh, onto Instagram. Let me just do this. Oh, well. It's like, where did our little thing there go?
There we go.
Oh, there we
More
go.
info.
Okay. I'm sorry. All right. So you can upload your stuff onto Instagram, hashtag it 90-minute art challenge. You can see there's over 2,000 posts now. Holy smokes. And every week we pull out a few to kind of showcase.
Oh, that one's very cool.
From our friend in Vienna, Hetty,
Oh, Hetty. Uh,
incredible, taking all four of these pieces and creating something out of it. That was the challenge. Very, very tough
mm.
one. Here's some more from other people. That one's really
Oh, that
cool.
one's very cool.
Reminds me of Fifth Element, the opera
Mm,
singing blue person. Anyways, here's another one. This is
nice.
one that we did with Carla Ortiz, and this one, right? That's really cool too.
Oh,
Very, very nice. David Attenborough. So, way to go, everybody. Way to go. And here's one for today.
that looks great.
The other thing I want to mention here is that many of us are taking schoolism classes. Give us some, give us some heart emojis if you like schoolism. Right now, by the
Yay.
way, I just wanted to mention that we have a amazing sale. It's save $100 off a 1 year subscription to Schoolism. And that means that you get literally every class, access to every course on Schoolism. And that's really like all the education you need. Each one of these courses are weeks and weeks worth if you do them correctly. You do all the assignments and things like that, and they're made by many of your favorite artists behind your favorite things. We also have on here artist workouts, which is really great because this is stuff that I love doing because I don't have any homework. I just go along with the video. I paint with the video. I do the exercise. And when the video is done, I'm done. And I could go back to work.
Mhm, mhm.
Newest course, Andrea Blasic.
Ah, so good. This stuff is amazing.
All right. And we have a Holly Jolly Paint-a-thon this weekend. Come join us on Discord. It's going to be fun. We're going to start on Friday. Let me see here. It's going to start on Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Pacific Time, and it's going to keep going for 24 hours. Okay? You can join the Discord at LBX or at bit.ly/LBX Discord. Now, what do you mean 24 hours, Bobby? I mean, it's going to keep going. You have 24 hours to paint something according to a theme that we'll give you. The thing about this is we don't want everybody to stay up 24 hours, like that's not
Yeah.
healthy. It's more of bringing people together. Everybody forms groups, right? And you all paint together on Magma. So you would create a group, 5, 10 people, something like that, and you all paint
Mhm,
together.
mhm.
A winner And everybody's a winner. If you do this, you're a winner, I feel. But we will be selecting one awesome group, and that awesome group will be showcased on the Lightbox Expo social media, which has over 100,000 followers, of course, and many of them followed by the top professionals in the world, in the entertainment industry. I think we could safely say that now. The other thing is that we would invite you to come and paint with us on the
Yeah.
stream live, your whole group, and we will be a part of the group and we'll paint with you.
Hmm.
So that should be a really, really great time,
Yeah, I'm so looking forward to that.
right? And so now let's start the stream. Let's get going. You have 90 minutes to finish your study of the CN Tower, of the environment. And by the way, for many of you that are really, really good at environments, I don't know, you might get through this a little quicker, perhaps. Feel free to add to it, right? What is all that space in the front? Maybe there's a picnic happening. Maybe there's people walking. Who knows? What are the things in the
Hmm.
back? There could be airplanes coming through, UFOs, whatever you want.
Hmm. Yeah, or like you can change the CN Tower to make it like a bigger thing because all the information is there for you as long as you follow like the lighting, the atmosphere, kind of like the whole mood. You should be able to create something really cool.
Yes, and we will figure out how the groups will be formed generally. In for the Holly Jolly Paintathon this weekend, the 24-hour one. We'll figure out how the groups are made, but generally you get to make your own groups. Worst
Mhm.
comes to worst, we all meet on Discord that day, and you make your group there. Um, we also have Patricia and the whole group of people in Discord. Maybe they might know a bit more. How about this might be a good time, Masay, what do you think? To hop over to Discord?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, let's mute our Zoom and then we'll hop right over. All right, so now we're in Discord, and so for those of you that don't know about Discord, this is the Lightbox Expo Discord account, okay? And this allows you to kind of find other like-minded artists such as yourself to paint and draw along with, without the kind of toxicness of being super public, drawing with people, and mean people commenting on your stuff. We
Hmm.
want to create a very welcoming, a safe environment, and this environment is led by Patricia over here, and she is currently hosting one of these study groups. Right, you can see all these various people all painting together online, painting the study in all sorts of different ways. It's awesome. This is the one that Patricia is sharing. So you can see everybody,
Uh,
right? And they're
love
going
it.
about it in different ways. Love it.
Yeah. It's cool. It's neat to see that there's different ratios of like this parts of the study so that people can be like, I want to focus more on this part and that part. Like last week,
Yeah.
when we did it with Carla with that really hard subject, I remember one of the magma boards was focused mainly on the face, another one's mostly focused on like the whole body. So I thought that was really neat.
Totally. Um, yeah, I don't know if Patricia you want to mention anything about the challenge, but because we haven't talked about it, so don't feel the need to
No,
just
no,
yet.
no. I mean,
Oh, okay. Cool.
Hi,
we can
Patricia.
chat about it. As a
Okay.
challenge, I'm very much looking forward to it. And with the groups, we have like many people here on Discord who do art. So maybe if you haven't have like art friends, you can definitely make some here. So join the Discord.
Fantastic. And then we'll also have to talk about how people are going to be making the groups, unless you have a plan for that.
Yeah, we need to chat about it. because we were thinking about 5 to 10 people, right,
Mm-hmm.
Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm guessing people need to find like uh 5 of 10. What was it now? 10, 5, 10
5 to
people.
10, artists to
Yeah,
paint with, to draw with.
yeah, yeah. And we will have like a different section for this, which we will reveal soon. Yeah, and
Fantastic.
with more information and also how to find people. Indeed, we will try to be as accommodating as we can, and but yeah, also don't be shy. Join the voice chats and chat with people, and you
Mhm.
get to know more artists by the day.
And of course, if
Yeah.
they do not have any artist friends, that's no problem, right, Patricia? Because we're going to be helping people to kind of form groups if
Yeah,
they
we
don't
can
have a
be like
group.
matchmakers, and yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so come on by Friday. It'll be fun. Thank you. Thanks, Patricia.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. The other thing I want to mention here is disc questions. You can see at the bottom of the screen there's a nice little highlight that says questions, and there you can ask your questions through Slido, and it's just slido.com. Oops. Slido.com hashtag choose stream, and then you can see everything there. Okay. So, and then you can upvote questions as well. All right.
Yeah, it's great if you're too shy to ask questions on Discord because we also go to Discord and talk to people in person. So
Yes.
yeah,
And if
ask
I
away.
feel a little jumbled up today, Masay and everybody, it's because we welcomed back a huge part of, our company, which is Nancy. Nancy is joining us in the in YouTube chat as well as the Facebook chat, helping people moderate. Uh, you know, Nancy was
Hmm.
a big part of the very first Lightbox Expo, and
Yeah,
took some time off, and now she's back, and we're super happy to have her back.
mm, so good to have her back.
So, what shall we talk about today? Discord people, feel free to jump in on the conversation. Today we don't have a third person as well, so maybe you guys could kind of be the third person.
Yeah. It's easier to chime in and chat in the conversation.
Hmm. I could start off by just kind of commenting on how these two different paintings are doing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got in real quick there, start blocking in a lot of really good shapes into your illustration there. Now,
Yeah, using the pen tool and just like solid,
oh, that's
opaque
what you're
paint.
using.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I got like the sharp edges and corners very, very quickly.
I thought it was with some sort of a selection tool, a lasso tool or something. Yeah,
Mm.
you could see I'm having like the hardest time, right? I'm just like slowly trying to carve at this thing to make a tower.
Yeah, yeah. I think I forgot how I learned that, but I remember I was experimenting with like solid square shaped brushes in Photoshop, and I realized like that's such a fast and efficient way, especially for environments like this where there's lots of buildings, lots of windows, and all these like hard shapes. So yeah, I was able to, get a bit ahead with this painting.
That's awesome. You're also like the ground, it already has a subtle gradation or something there, doesn't it? Or am I just seeing things?
Yeah, yeah. I think I put that on just to kind of like I think when everything is flat, sometimes it kind of throws me off, and then I don't really know like where certain values are supposed to be. So I think it might have been a reminder that like this area is supposed to be darker than this like flat area on the ground.
Mm-hmm. I do remember this. I actually liked the pacing that I go with on my painting. It might look like I'm going a little slow here, but I think it's just because I said to myself, I'll spend up to 35 minutes on the background before I
Mm,
come into the foreground. So it
mhm.
just gave me a little bit more time to figure out. In my head, I had to figure out how to do those buildings.
Right, yeah. There's like so many buildings, and then they have different values. And then if you look closer, there's like all the windows. It's like, so how do you approach that?
Yes.
It does get a bit overwhelming. I do like the fact that for your painting, because of that like one single cloud, it like established the whole like mood of the or the painting. So like looking at mine, I'm like, wow, it looks like a somewhat sunny day, but yours like, kind of is like a bit more similar to the reference. So seeing this now, I think that if I were to do that approach, I would the whole process of my painting would feel a lot faster because that is like kind of like establishes everything and then I work off of that rather than me kind of like adjusting things on top and like tweaking things back and forth.
Ah, I see. You see, I'm doing these slow ass selections to try to make some building shapes.
Mm, I see that.
But it actually worked out. It was a really awesome challenge just to figure out, okay, well, you have these buildings there. How do I deal with these buildings? Because I feel like I believe that it doesn't matter what challenge we get for the 90-minute workout or the
Mhm.
90-minute art challenge. It doesn't matter. There is no subject that is too simple or too complex, right?
Yeah.
That's how I kind of feel. We just gotta figure a way.
Mhm.
Bobby, just wondering, are we already open for some questions from
Oh yeah,
the...
sure, absolutely, yeah.
Oh,
Way.
John, you can ask your question if you have one. Just unmute.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so hello. My question is, what do you do when you cannot figure out how the image will be? Like, if you don't feel satisfied with it, do you stick with it or do you start a new one? Especially if you have a deadline, but you also don't want to make something of bad quality.
Oh, well,
Mm.
that should
Yeah, I'm struggling with that.
for a challenge like this, I don't know what you can really do. You just kind of have to bulldoze your way through it because you only have 90 minutes. So you might as well just keep going and try to finish something. But for client work, I
Mm-hmm.
think that should all be figured out in the thumbnails.
Mm, mhm.
Yeah, because if you did it right, or if you did it efficiently, then you would give them an idea. This is the idea that we're going for. Here's the sketch. The sketch turns into perhaps a more rendered out sketch, and then they look at that and they go, okay, yes. And then down the line, right? And then you give them the final piece. So if you're not very satisfied with the final
Mm-hmm.
piece at that point, I feel like you're still going to be very close, right? Because you already sent them, hopefully, the sketches and stuff, and everybody's on
Yeah.
board. Do you have anything you wanted to add to that, Missy?
Well, no, I think it makes sense to me. I just I feel like it makes sense to just keep pushing, but it's just hard. I feel like I had to start over again lots of
Mm.
times, and I feel like I wasn't like being very patient with it because I had in mind the deadline, but I
Ah,
have to be patient.
It's like what Bobby was saying, especially for client work. The very beginning is kind of like the foundation. It's like the frame of the painting. If you don't make that like solid, then everything is. It's like you're like frantically trying to make it stand still, like stand up by like adding
Yeah.
all these other support beams and stuff. So, um, yeah, I think for client work, it's probably better to know in the very beginning, like put a lot of time and effort into that. But studies like this, I think it's really important to kind of just like, even if it's like not going the way you want it to, you just have to keep going through, because that's the way you learn. It's like, if you don't go through that mud, then you're not gonna like,
Yeah.
yeah, like, you know, you won't pick up things. And I think it's also good to learn how to get through these kinds of like studies, because if you don't know how to struggle through that, it's like, what's going to happen when it comes time to actually do client work? It's like you can't just like drop it and like be like, okay, I'm gonna start over. Like, you don't have the luxury to do that. So sometimes it's good to know how to work through problems that you feel like, you know, it's not really going your way.
All
So I
about
hope that helps.
problem solving. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it helped a lot. Thank
Awesome.
you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that could always be a tough thing. I've definitely been in that situation where it's like it feels like the 11th hour, and only to realize what I've been painting, I don't like it.
Yeah.
Do you remember a job like that or anything like that?
Oh yeah, totally. It's like, yeah, by the like, you spend so much time and you're like, oh my gosh, like how am I supposed to finish this? But because of that experience, I've learned. And I remember you helping me, like there was a project I was working on, and it was like this creature design, and you recommended like, okay, because you already know what the subject is, why don't you do some studies to understand like how to paint this type of texture or like this type of animal. And when I did, like when it came time to actually do the assignment, it felt like I was very familiar with it. So I think preparation plays a big part in client work. It's like, you know, you just have to like be in a situation where you're just prepared for these kinds of things. So I think that is also another advice if someone were to take a client, you know, work, is do whatever you can to not have to restart from the very beginning.
Yeah, and especially if you're doing these 90-minute workouts, it's like you'll be so used to doing very quick studies to understand things. I was painting with I was painting just random paintings yesterday, doing a couple of little very quick studies and just sharing my screen on the Discord channel, just turning off my sound because I was talking and whatever. Uh, but just to kind of show how fast it would go. And I surprised myself, like that sounds totally douchey, but I did just, surprise myself on how fast I was going. Yeah, I was like, where was it? Here, I'll show you. I'll show you this painting here. I just did this in like 22, 23 minutes. It's just very, very quick. I did a different one for, I think the Discord thing. I erased a bunch of stuff, made it standing or whatever, but it doesn't take very long. And I was absorbing all of these things, all of this information. The biggest one was don't go all the way to white. I just established that white was not white. It was like 95% white. Right, and that gave me some leeway. Anyways, learned a bunch of stuff, did a very quick study. It's great.
I actually did something similar where is the reason why you did that is because you're preparing yourself for a painting that you're gonna do, or was it just like just for fun?
That I might do
Uh,
traditionally. Yeah,
uh-huh.
something that I want to
Because
do traditionally.
Yeah, because it's funny. I did something similar where I did a study in 20 minutes. It wasn't like refined or anything. It was just for me to know, like, okay, this is the color that's supposed to work with this subject. Because I'm actually making a painting right now that has to do with the reference that I use. So
Uh-huh.
just by practicing that, it's like, it's put me like 10 steps ahead, because then I don't have to think, like what color am I supposed to put for this? Like how does the lighting affect this subject right here?
Like
So
we've all seen when people go on a study trip or whatever, like
mhm,
they're gonna be what was it? Prince of Egypt. They went to Egypt, right? And they
yeah.
start to learn what Egypt is all about and sketching all over the place and things like that. And there's so many other examples where the people that are working on that movie, they go somewhere for a research trip. Well, what are we
Mhm,
doing for our research when we paint something that we're not super familiar with,
mhm.
right? That's the
Yeah.
research. That's the research trip. It's just we don't have to leave our homes because we can just use the internet.
I just went to the Google Maps of Toronto. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know it's called the Rogers Center, and it's on the water. It looks nice.
Thanks. Yeah,
Oh
this
yeah.
tower, by the way, for everybody, that's called the CN Tower. Do you know what the CN stands for, Masay?
Nancy actually typed it into the YouTube chat, but she said it was the Canadian National. Right.
Ah,
The CN originally referred to Canadian National, the railway company that built the tower. Fun
okay.
fact.
Cool. There we go. Learn
Yeah.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why don't we go to one of the questions in Slido? This
Yeah.
person said, oh, let me answer this one real quick. Anonymous says, hey, Bobby, have you done recording the Proko challenge critique yet? Okay, so what this means is I was asked by my friend Stan Prokopenko to be a part of his challenge, his Proko challenge. You could go check it out if you look up Proko on YouTube. Um, and so my challenge for everybody was it cute and deadly, and so everybody had to do cute and deadly stuff. The submissions are already done. I also did record my critique and everything already, so I gave it to the wonderful people at Proko, and they're working on it. They're gonna edit it and stuff, and hopefully I don't. I'm always afraid when, or I'm always a bit more apprehensive when somebody else is editing,
Yeah.
because you
Editing
could,
is
yeah.
interesting. Yeah.
Have you heard about stories of like reality shows where they would edit, you know, questions with different
Mhm.
reactions to different questions or whatever, and then the person looks like a jerk?
Yes, it's crazy. Like, oh my gosh. It's like imagine you're talking about a subject and at a different point in that day, it's like you have a disgusted face and they use that and then they totally make you look like this awful person. So, reality TV shows, I try not to believe everything I see.
Yeah, I there was this show a while back with Exhibit, the rapper, and it's called
Mhm.
Pimp My Ride. So people would bring in their really crusty automobiles that had like one leg left to stand on, kind of thing, and he would pimp it out so it looks awesome and looks crazy, and there's a Sony PlayStation in there, there's a goldfish aquarium whatever in there and all this stuff. And then it came out like years later that a lot of these cars, like, they were junky, but at least they still ran. And then after it went to his show, they stopped running. One actually blew up.
No
Yeah,
way.
caught
What?
fire and blew up in like a drag race or something. And a
Gee.
bunch of the times from, you could look this all up. Don't trust my word for it totally.
Bobby
Bobby
back.
fact. This is just from a foggy memory that sometimes they took the stuff back. Like they put a Sony PlayStation in your car, they take it back. They take back the widescreen TV and all that stuff. Reality shows, probably the furthest from reality.
Mhm. Yeah, this is a bit like away from art, but like I remember watching this Japanese show called Terrace House. Like Kay
Love
knows
it.
about it. Yeah, it seems so genuine, but the more research I did, and like hearing people from the actual show, like the girls and boys who were actually there, it's messed up. It's like the same thing. They edit it so that it makes it seem like it's like this
Oh
whole like
no.
nice wholesome thing, and then apparently like the directors try to like force them to make certain conflicts sometimes when it's like they don't really want it. So, anyways, that's like my view on reality TV show. Even if it seems really nice, it doesn't necessarily mean it's genuine.
It's very true. Yeah, I've said it a couple of times doing a lot of interviews, especially for um, Lightbox Expo or our Nico and the Sword of Light when we're doing all the press for the television show that we have. Um, Kay and I, we did so many back-to-back interviews, and me just for Lightbox, you really learn a lot about media, right? Because like everybody's coming in there, are they looking to, like, they have to write how many stories, right? So it's like, are they looking to start from scratch on all 20, 30 stories that are due that week? Or are they coming in there with a story already in their head and they need validation, they need a little support to make that story true?
Mhm.
That is obviously the much easier way, right? And I'm not sure if that's the reason, but that's what I kind of gather. So a lot of times they'll come in with a certain story that they want to tell, about your event or about your show or whatever.
Mhm.
And everything else that you tell them outside of that, unless it's gonna make an even bigger, better, juicier story or whatever, full of drama and full of whatever, they probably won't use it.
Mhm.
That's interesting, right?
It's also scary, like how questions are asked can manipulate how you answer as well.
Yes.
So,
But I'm so
and
blown
you're like,
away with Terrace House. I thought that was, I was like, wow,
like
that
most of
seems so
it.
genuine.
Yeah, yeah. I remember, I forgot how I got into that, but I just remember I did some research after there was like an incident about this girl who, it gets a bit dark, but like she took her life because of like all the bullying from the internet. Because like,
She was on the
because
show?
she was on the show,
Oh my
it made
gosh.
the way they edited it made it seem like she was a really like mean, like I guess bitchy
Oh,
girl, but yeah, and it totally wasn't her because they the direct or the people were like do this and she didn't really want to, but she ended up doing it anyways. And then yeah, she got backlash and then is crazy. I feel very bad for it.
well, yeah. One of the something that relates to that is uh, Aunt Viv from Fresh Prince. I don't know if you're too young to watch Fresh Prince, but back in my day,
Mhm.
that was the show. That was the show that you
Mhm.
had to watch. If you want to come to school the next day, you better have watched Fresh Prince because that's what everybody talked about. And if they realize you
Yeah.
didn't watch it, they're like, "Oh, what's wrong with that guy?"
Mm.
That's how important it was. And yeah, I remember one year, all of a sudden, the Aunt Viv was replaced with the new Aunt Viv, right? And
Oh no.
yeah, and the whole entire thing was that the old Aunt Viv, it came out that she was difficult to work with on set or something, but it
Mhm.
was all perpetrated by Will Smith, and he admits
Uh,
to it. Recently,
uh,
after like 30 freaking years, he admits to it and says, "Yeah, I was a young, stupid kid back then," and things like that. Yeah, and so
mhm.
her whole, pretty much, the you know, her her career after 30 something was destroyed
So unfortunate.
because of that news that she was difficult. Everybody just stopped giving her a chance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary. Just seeing like that little comment about someone, and then people like is are quick to like turn it
How
on
would you
them.
compare that to something like the Harvey Weinstein type scandals?
Well, shoot, like, hey, look into it. That's what I say. Look into it. Let's look into this stuff and see what's what. Like if they looked into the Harvey Weinstein stuff when people first started to say then perhaps it wouldn't have gotten as bad as it did. And if they looked into what Will Smith said about Aunt Viv, perhaps things would have been a lot better as well. You know, like I really, I've said it many times in many streams, like, don't listen to what I say. Look it up. You know, it's a Bobby fact or whatever. But also, I do say, like, if it doesn't make sense to you, don't do it. Right? Like, think about that was the thing that really saved so much of my career. Because if I just listened to what people told me, I never would have created a studio so early on. Right? Never would have created. Never would have done any of these things, because that's the safe thing to do, is to do something else.
Yeah. And especially for students, I think that's a really great advice because, I mean, this is my experience when I was in school. For some reason, there was two teachers who were like, don't go into character design. That's like, it's such a hard field. Like the really good
Yeah.
artists are like really good. It's very hard to get there. So environment design is like easier to get to because there's so many jobs like that. And I didn't know any better. I was a student. I was young. I believed that, and it's kind of scary to think that one person's opinion can really decide like how you should go about your art. So I mean, I'm very lucky to have come across like cross paths with you and understand that character design is you can pursue it. But I can just imagine like all those people just being told by that one instructor or teacher being like, you can't do this. So you're like, oh, okay, I just can't do it then. So it's very important to kind of like, yeah, look for other resources, talk to other people, see what they say, pick and choose what you want to believe, and kind of decide your own path.
Here's some stuff I believe, right? A good teacher will shave like minimum 10 years off of your career and get you way further, way faster. And a bad teacher is worse than having no teacher at all. Just for that one little fact that you brought up, it's telling us things that, oh, those are our limits. Oh, that's not possible. That's way worse than just having zero teachers at all. And I almost fell for those kind of things as well. Oh, character design. There's only a certain amount of character designers on each project, right? And each project, it has hundreds of people. You want to try to strive for the, 3, 2, 1 positions on that film, maybe 6 positions on that film if you're counting like junior stuff as well. That's way too hard. But no, it's not. It really isn't, because all of this stuff generally is kind of hard. But if you think about it, okay, if I do the things that the other successful people are doing, they all, many of them have families, many of them have other things to do, many of them still take vacations, go get sleep and all that stuff. If I do what those people do and treat my art, like how they treat it, then yeah, I can get there. That makes sense. It's not like they have antennas coming out of their heads that could do extra functions, right? We all have 2 arms, hopefully 2 legs, 2 eyes, and so on and so forth. If we do, then for sure we have it. And if you don't, guaranteed you can find an example out there where that person probably did everything with the same disadvantages that you have.
And also, just to add to like my story about that teacher saying like go into environment design and don't do character. To me, it irked me the fact that like he was suggesting that environment design is easier than character design, and it's like I've learned that like anything that you do in art, like they will help each other out. Like whatever I'm not much of an environment painter, but just doing these kinds of study helps with my character design. And the character design does the same for that. It's like shape language, values, and all that. So I just wish that those instructors were a bit more open-minded, especially for students, so then they can like learn that, all these things kind of like are supposed to help each other, not like compete with each other.
Yeah, I'm
So,
not sure exactly who you're talking about. I don't want to expose anybody either, but I've
mhm,
seen other situations where it's like you can feel the fear in that teacher. So, of course, they don't think that you can make it because they didn't make it,
mhm,
right? So they go, that's too hard. Don't go that route. I'm trying to tell you things that have helped me survive over the years. And so don't go for that character design job,
mhm,
which is not good. That is not good.
mhm,
Which is
mm,
why, it's like, what's the best way to become an amazing character designer? Is to have a ton of amazing character designer friends. How do you
mhm,
become an awesome artist? Is to have a ton of awesome artist friends. Boom. That's the number one tip that anybody can give you, because all of a sudden you have all these other people probably with the answer to your questions at your disposal, and you're constantly hanging out with them. You're going to do the same things generally that a really awesome character designer or artist would do, and so on and so
mhm,
forth, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
And a great way to find artist friend is Discord.
Boom.
The
Yeah.
other, yeah, on Friday, oh my gosh, I had such a great time on Discord. I was probably on there for like 5 or 6 hours just hanging out with people. Like at
Oh,
the
really?
same time, I was painting on my own stuff. But it's so fun because there's one point where Prashant, he's like a regular on Discord. He was saying how like, have you guys ever went on Google Maps and just like explored the world? So we started going to like everywhere and seeing all these places. We went to Antarctica, we went to Iceland, we went to Japan,
Oh,
and we're just
cool.
like watching and we're just like saying like how cool everything is. So it's fun. It's a very welcoming, warm place to kind of just hang out and meet, especially meeting people around the world who have the same interest as you. So I just
Actually,
wanted to
yeah,
bring that up.
lockdown vacations on Google Maps is pretty good. It's
Yeah,
like what you can get, right?
yeah.
I remember
It's
you can actually go to uh, what's it called? Mount Everest. Did you guys do that?
no way. I did not know that,
Yeah,
but
you can totally go on Mount Everest and have like the 360 views and stuff, and climb up and up and up all the way to the.
wow.
I don't know if it's all the way to the top, but it does
Uh,
get kind of eerie at the top there.
yeah, I bet. Oh
You
my
you've heard
gosh.
like there's bodies and stuff at the top,
And
right?
they're preserved because they're just
Totally,
rock solid,
totally.
frozen.
And there's a lot of junk.
Aw,
Yeah,
that's too
people
bad.
will like leave junk and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what else are they gonna do with it?
Which makes me think about. I'll just. I shouldn't say it. Well, I'll say it. Makes me think about the poop. Do they bring down their
Oh,
poop? Because that poop will stay up there forever.
yeah, and it's not like it's gonna decompose or like go into the earth. It's cold up there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's that's a funny thought. I never thought about that.
All right. Why don't we do a Slido question, and we could talk with the
Yeah.
Discord peeps. So this one looks like a fun one. How can introverts who find energy in quiet uh, okay, how can introverts who find their energy in quiet train themselves to fit in better with extroverts in voice chat and face to face that seem to be a golden standard? Wow, this is definitely not a question for me to answer because I just love to
Mhm.
just talk and whatever. But
Yeah, I'm more of an introvert, I would say. If I was in a big gathering, I'd probably be the last person to like say things. I guess if this person's talking about, since voice chat, they probably mean Discord. I find it easier to be maybe the first one in the voice chat when no one's there, so that when people come in, it's easier to talk with like one or two people. I find that I strive better in conversations when it's like either if it's a very small group. So that might be a good way for introverted people to get to know people, because once you know at least one person, especially like a regular who goes onto the voice chat, they can help introduce you to all the other people. Then it's easier. It's like an icebreaker. You already have that like wall come down. So I find that that's a bit easier. And even if you don't um, talk too much, you can always like type, and then we read the comments as well, and then we say like, hey, this person mentioned this. It's like that's a really good question, or like that's a really good comment.
yeah, like
So
sometimes Patricia will ask us the questions that people type into the chat, so you could do it like that as well.
yeah. Um
On that note,
and I
oh, sorry.
yeah, yeah. No, totally go.
No, did you have a thought? You want to say something?
Oh, I guess because the internet makes it easier to talk to people and you don't get too nervous, typing, like talking to them over social media might be a nice icebreaker as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so there's that.
Hey, big shout out to Dot in the YouTube chat. Just said, read the book Quiet by Susan Cain. I love that
Mhm.
book. That was a very cool book. Um, it really talks about the differences between introverts and extroverts and the power that extroverts have that introverts could totally, um, take advantage of or whatever if they had that too. So there's a lot of power in being an introvert for sure. It's actually changed, that book changed how I brainstorm with people. Because one of
Mhm.
the things that, of course, Bobby fact here, I'm pretty sure. Um, One of the things that it talks about in the book that was really great was the whole entire idea of many of our best ideas come in isolation.
Mhm.
The kernel of it, anyways, the beginning of it. And I kind of agree. So nowadays, like for Lightbox Expo, everything that is a question mark or something we need to work on, uh, lately it's been Jim and I going, okay, you go to your corner, I'm going to go to my corner. We're going to think of ideas separately, and then we'll come together on Saturday or whatever it is and have our meeting. Right? And just
Mhm.
having that alone time to think about and to really isolate and come up with ideas without being influenced by anybody else, and then coming together, bring in those ideas and letting those ideas influence each other, have been amazing for coming up with
Mhm.
really good, you know, solutions and ideas.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. The whole like because sometimes you can't help but like be influenced by whatever someone says to you, and then you're like, oh yeah, that's right, and then you kind of like focus on that idea rather than like exploring outside.
Yeah, and somebody said, "What's the book's name?" It's called Quiet. It's called Quiet. Um, Susan
I
Cain.
think I have.
Anyhow, anybody in
Yeah.
the Discord want to join in on any of this conversation or ask any questions? Maybe there's any questions in the chat.
Hey, Bobby,
Hi,
can I ask a question?
for sure.
Yesterday I bought a, subscription for TrueStream, and I kind of wonder what I need to, which course can I take as a beginner? You know,
Oh, okay.
uh,
So for you bought a subscription for Schoolism.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I said true stream.
It's all good. I just didn't want to confuse anybody else. I understood what you meant. Okay, so let me just share my screen real quick because this is a common question that people will ask. So number one is it's hard to answer that question because say you are interested in 2D animation character design, then I would select different courses for you than if you want to be a background painter. But just going through the bunch here, I would say that this one's my own, but I designed it especially so that you're learning how I teach, how I paint, how I draw. So it's really for anybody, from beginners to professionals. Currently, I have an awesome group of students. One is still in high school, and one worked on Angry Birds.
Oh.
So it's like all over the place. Sculpting with Andrea Blasic. This one, I feel like it is a beginner's course again, but it's how does Andrea sculpt? Because a lot of these can be considered beginner courses all the way to professional because you are learning how they specifically think about doing the things that they do. So it's not like, oh, you're going to take this course to learn how to digital paint. You're going to take this course to learn how I digital paint. But yeah, this one is a good beginner's course. I say the Nikolai Lockertsen, that one's a really good one for Procreate. Viktor Kalvachev's, I didn't dive into that completely. Is it hardcore drawing? Could beginners take that course, Masay?
Oh, totally. Beginners could take it. Even professionals, I would highly recommend taking it. It's easy. It's like broken down to the point where it's very digestible. So I absolutely love Victor's class.
Painting with Craig Mullins, this one is advanced. That one's
It's hard.
amazing, but it's advanced. The Nathan Fowkes one, this one's on my list. I haven't taken it yet. Also looks somewhat advanced for beginner drawers. Intermediate or higher, I would say. Conceptual characters with Wouter. What do you think about that one? That one, I kind of feel like it's good for beginner college level, I think. Jamila's, that's for any level, I think. That one's fantastic. Environment and light with John Burton. Beginner level, that one's great. But also, I would take it. I would learn a bunch of stuff. Introduction to visual development. This one's definitely beginners. That one's great. Understanding textures. I think that would be like maybe a second or third course that you take. Maybe not the very beginning one. Digital painting with Craig Mullins. You took this one.
Yeah. Oh, so good. I learned so much. I need to rewatch it again just to kind of because he throws you so much nice these little nuggets where it's just golden nuggets that I want to pick up, but I can't pick everything up. So I need to go back and pick up the rest.
Definitely. But at the same time, it's I could see a beginner doing this course. It's just a bunch of the stuff you might want to come back later on when you're better as well. Watercolor fundamentals. That's totally a beginner's course. Masay and I and Kay all took this course and learned how Gonzalo Carcamo does watercolor, and it's fantastic.
Is it okay to watch the courses as like a video just to put in the background?
You could, yeah. Just don't expect to absorb everything. Some people, they say to me, oh, I've taken all the Schoolism courses, and can you look at my portfolio? And I look at it, and it's like, no, you didn't. Because perhaps they didn't put in the effort to do all the assignments and to watch all the feedback videos. I love learning, And those feedback videos are just as important as the lessons themselves. And then doing the assignments, that's how you're going to absorb it all. Yeah, Essentials of Realism, that's a good beginner's course.
Yeah, that was great.
Anything Jason Seiler, I've seen him take total beginners into like professional level. So realistic portraits and caricature, Jason Seiler. Everybody talks about painting with light and color with Daisutsumi Robert Kondo. Same with the Sam Nielsen one. Well, the Sam Nielsen one, he has a different one that is more beginner. Creature Anatomy Advanced. That will put you through the ringer, and if you survive, you will come out a freaking creature master. You know, that's how I feel. Holy smokes. The
Yeah,
amount of
that was
the amount of knowledge and the amount of work involved in this course is transformative, to say the least. Nathan
yeah,
Fowkes.
that was,
What do you think about the Nathan Fowkes courses?
I think there's a certain, for me, I find that there's a certain order to watch Nathan's class. First is environment design,
Yeah.
and then I forgot what his other ones were. I think maybe next would be pictorial composition,
Uh-huh.
and then the gouache and watercolor landscape painting.
Mm.
I don't know if there's one more, but I
Designing
find
with
that
light and color.
designing with light and color would be the first one I would recommend.
Yeah, I feel like that one touches on a lot of the other ones, but only just kind of touches it. And so you'd want to dive in further later on. Drawing fundamentals, that one's a pretty classic beginner course as well.
Yeah.
Gesture drawing, it's difficult, but I would suggest that this is a beginner gesture drawing course as well, because especially with gesture drawings, you could pick up so many bad and kind of stupid habits sometimes from bad instructors that don't know what they're talking about. I've seen it many times. It's like, draw with your left hand if you're right-handed. Okay, why though? Why? Tell me, you know, like anyway. I'm just thinking about all the kind of bad instruction I've heard about life drawing, gesture drawing. Chris Pern, storyboarding. This was a fantastic beginner's storyboarding course. You want to be somewhat of a intermediate level drawing, I think, though. Yeah, fundamentals of lighting with Sam Nielsen. Heavy, but definitely for beginners as well. That one was a really, really great one. And boom, now I have a ground. I didn't cut any ground in there, just to let everybody know. I was doing a bunch of buildings, and now I'm moving up. Texturized the ground, did a bunch of stuff, and now we're at this point, or something like that. Yeah.
We're getting there.
Did you use any of the custom brushes for this one? Do you remember?
No, I did not. I think I just used the pen tool and the lasso tool.
Oh.
And maybe a bit of like the regular round brush.
Okay. I like how you did the leaves in the foreground there.
Oh,
Those are just
thanks.
lasso tools, right?
Yeah, lasso tool, tried to get like more organic random shapes by just squiggling around, and then within those like selected areas, I would just paint certain things, not just like blocking the whole thing, because then it would just be a big chunk. So I would just like etch them in and then carve them out if I need to.
I'm pretty sure I scribbled in the foliage that I put in there. I just scribbled it in with 100% opacity, 100% flow.
It looks good though. I like it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Well, in the beginning, people might be concerned of how fast I was going. Yeah, but I knew how fast I was going. I knew how much time I had left, so don't worry, everybody. Everything was paced like pretty well for me in this one actually. The one where I really failed in timing was the one that we just did on Friday with Carlo Ortiz.
Mhm.
I wish
Oh
I
yeah,
had a
that one
second
had.
chance on that one.
There was like so much information, and the main focus was the fabric, so it was just so easy to get caught up in all those folds and like the wrinkles and like how the lighting is on each like wrinkle.
Yeah.
So that was a tough one.
Yeah, well, that one I just wasn't concentrated. I was using the wrong brush. I was using a textured brush that made me have to go back over to harden edges.
Hmm.
Anyways, learned a lot of good things from that. Kind of going
Yeah.
back to that person's comment about what do you do when it's not looking well, things like that. Sometimes you muscle through it, and that's when you get the best lessons.
Hmm. Hmm. I agree.
Hi, Bobby. Can I ask a question?
Sure, yeah.
I would like to know which way do you think is the best way for beginner to start out? Like, I have seen many tutorials on YouTube, and yesterday there was an art jam on Magma with Kim Jung-ji and the other great mm, draw
Yeah.
other great artists. But for me, the question is, which way should you start out? Like drawing with shapes, line drawing, or creating from forms and drawing within 3D space and perspective?
Um, well, really, like, I would join us for these 90-minute workout things and actually do them. But also, to go further into your question there, I actually have a theory about this. And the theory goes, you want to start off with structure. You want to start off with really getting good, practicing good structure. And what kind of structure is this? I would say it's linear structure, because for me to understand how to paint, it was much easier for me to not have to deal with saturation and color at first and just deal with lighting. How does light work? How does it bounce all around? Well, say we didn't have light. Do we still have structure? Do we still have the ability to make things three-dimensional? I would say yes. You know, people that can't even see, they can still understand structure quite a bit, right? Like people that are completely blind, generally, they're not falling over in their own household. They can have that sense of structure and where everything is. So that's where I would start, is like strip away everything. What do you have left? I feel like you have structure. And so I would spend the beginning part to really try to create drawings that feel like you're looking into the window of another dimension, and that window is your piece of paper. So things really feel structural, really feel three-dimensional inside. What about you, Miss A? What was your kind of path like, or how would you structure it?
How would you structure? Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like the whole stripping down everything, to kind of like go down to the bare bone of it. Yeah, lighting, because there's just in art, I feel like there's like so much things that you need to know about, and it's very easy for beginners to just feel overwhelmed because, I mean, I always hear artists like, you need to remember this, and then another artist like, you need to remember that, and you're just like, like what do I do? Like, there's so much to like, you just feel so overwhelmed. So I do really like the fact that you're kind of like breaking it down and be like, okay, structure is kind of like what builds the whole, like your whole image. If you have that down, then you know how to do lighting, and if you understand lighting, then you know how color works and how does that color work on this specific structure, or how does it bounce off. So I would say structure, value, and then shape. is kind of like, maybe that's how I would approach it.
Does texture get in there somewhere?
Yes, I haven't thought about that part, but
It's like that
do you know?
material indication is like the number one thing that I see missing in people's portfolios. You know, it's like you, and what I mean by this is that, do you paint the skin the same way you would paint the helmet on the head? If so, that's totally, yeah, you're missing that material indication. Actually, we
I
have a
guess
whole
you,
course about that with Jonathan
yeah,
Hardesty. That's why he made that course, Understanding Textures.
yeah. I think that that part kind of ties in with maybe lighting, because you start understanding like if a surface is rough, it's not going to be as reflective. So the value scale is not going to be as like vast.
Now, to play a little bit of devil's advocate, wouldn't everything fall under lighting? Like, oh, I guess except for maybe structure. Because you can't see color without the light, and the color will not show its true kind of, right? Like if a colorful thing is in blue lighting or whatever, it'll change, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Start off with the 90-minute art workouts, I would say. Start off with joining the Discord group. It's free. It's very much kind of like a safe haven for us artists to really incubate and get better.
Yeah.
And if you say yes to the stress, then you can join us for the Friday group challenge, which isn't super stressful. You know what I mean? We're saying that with definitely with a lightheartedness to it. But it's good to have a good challenge every once in a while. You know what I was watching the other day? I was watching this yesterday. It was Wim Hof came out with a new book. So he was doing some videos, and Wim Hof is this guy, for those of you that don't know, they call him the Iceman. He you know, swims in like Arctic frickin' waters where his eyeballs actually froze up at a point. He's climbed Mount Kilimanjaro in, I think, within 24 hours, no shirt on, just shorts, and beat the world record by days or something. All sorts of stuff. And he talks about really like the road to comfort is through discomfort, is getting used to discomfort, which I thought was kind of applicable in so many different ways, right?
I totally agree with that. And you learn a lot about yourself when you go through stress. And then you also like kind of work out how, like, what is the best way for you to kind of like get through the stress.
You also learn about other people when they have to deal with stress.
Yeah. Because sometimes the worst part of them comes out, but you also get to learn like how do they deal with it, with a difficult situation like that.
Yeah, I would say, would you say generally most people do not deal with stress well? Like when it's not planned on, it just comes out. Boom, now we have this situation.
Yeah, I I have to say I don't deal with stress very well, because I stress about being stressed, and then that's like double the stress. Like I know you're very good with stress, because you go through like a lot of quote unquote stressful situation. To me, I would be like, just thinking about it stresses me out. But because you've done it so many times, like you know how to like deal with it. What are the steps to get through it to make the situation better? So I see what you mean by like sometimes you just have to do it to know how to deal with it.
It's like my favorite breakfast cereal nowadays. Stress.
Yeah,
You
but
know what? I do like it. I have this weird sadistic kind of like, I like this. I remember being so stressed out during the first Lightbox Expo and having, like, I could feel my body being stressed, but like consciously I was not stressed. I was loving it. I was just loving
mhm.
it. I was like, wow, this is so difficult. This is like the most fun, craziest challenge.
Yeah, but that's an interesting thing. I think going through stresses and seeing the outcome, it's kind of like it you feel like satisfied in a way, like you feel proud of yourself. It's like that was difficult and you went through that.
Yeah.
And whether it went good or bad, well, most of the time I feel like for you it goes well. It's like you're just like, oh, nice job. Or at least that's how I feel when I get through a stressful situation, thinking like, uh, yeah.
No, I do. I do a silent little, in my head, I do a little like, good job, Bobby. Good job.
Mhm.
You know? Yeah. And I'll just sit
Yeah.
there quietly with a big smile on my face. There's been a bunch of those moments with, again, Lightbox Expo, just like sitting there quietly, find a little alone time. I'm just like, wow, good job.
Mhm. Mhm.
Makes it so much more worth it that it was difficult.
Yeah, rewarding. That's the word I was looking for. It's very rewarding when it's just like you got through it. You didn't give up.
I kind of
So,
feel like um, that each person is kind of fated for certain things, but you can change that fate with things that you do. So, in other words, if, say, you have a lot of bad luck, then you can change that fate. You can become luckier by putting yourself through a lot more discomfort voluntarily, like
mm,
working hard, you know, uh, studying hard, being very diligent with your career and things like that. Uh, that I feel like to fate, whatever fate is, they would consider that a little bit of bad luck. You know what I mean?
mhm,
And go, okay, yeah, take 20% of the bad luck that we're gonna give this person, take it off because this person is doing it to themselves right now.
yeah.
Yeah, so in a way, I feel like challenges and um, working hard helps to protect me from bad luck I would have gotten otherwise.
Mm, mhm.
And who
Yeah.
cares if this is true? Again, it's like if it doesn't make sense to you, you do not have to follow it. For this one, I don't care if it's true or not. That's what makes sense about it for me. Because if I
Mhm.
believe it's true, what are the results? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna look for all those things that are tough, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That is totally true.
What do you think about fate? Luck.
It's an interesting thing. I feel like I don't fully believe in fate, but there is a part of me where it's just like I'm like, oh, I guess this is what I was supposed to like do, and this is the people that I'm supposed to cross. And that makes it kind of like makes sense to me when I look back. It's like, oh, that was the reason why I had to go through that to get to where I am currently. So, I mean, obviously, when you're in that like bad place, it just feels like it sucks. But
Yeah.
now I've learned like, oh, maybe it's gonna get better from here because I've gone through this, and it's kind of like my fate is leading me to a better place. It sounds cheesy, but I mean, it's nice because like I don't want to be like a pessimistic, like negative person thinking like my like I don't believe in fate and like it's not gonna be in a good place and blah blah blah. So it's just a nice like spot for me to feel more hopeful and kind of look forward to things.
I remember getting chicken pox as an adult, and my mom,
Oh.
yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. Uh, anyways, it was gross and it was brutal. And at its grossest moment, my mom, she was like, "Hey, hold still. I'm gonna take some pictures." Start taking some pictures of me. I was like, why the hell would you want to take a bunch of pictures of this? And she was like, oh, it's to show you later, to show you how good your life is now, like afterwards. I was like, wow, that's pretty good, Mom. That's pretty good. You know, at your worst moments, you could bring out those pictures and go, yeah, that's not what I got right now is not that bad. You know?
That's funny.
Yeah, one of the things I wish I did, I probably mentioned this before, was take pictures of the crappiest, the shittiest little living space that I had. The most uncomfortable whatever situation I had. Because those are the ones that you don't take pictures of those. Right? And I didn't take any pictures of that either when it was like right in the beginning of the studio and we are all living together. Before your time, it's like we're all living, eating, whatever, everything together, and we had no table to eat on. It was just you grab another stool and you just eat on that stool. Yeah. And I remember watching the World Cup, and it was on a tiny little television, like 12 inches kind of television. I'm like, where's the ball? What's happening?
It's
You
like,
know?
it's like a
Yeah.
little pixel.
Oh, I wish I had a picture of us all watching the World Cup together on that tiny little TV. That would have been a great picture.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I forget to like it's so easy to take photos, so it's like so easy to document your whole life. I'm very bad with taking pictures, but my boyfriend's very like he's like any moment, like even like with random like hangouts with friends, he would take it. And it's fun just like looking back and be like, I remember this. I remember how I was like my mindset at the time, and like how my career was and all that. But yeah, it's documenting your life. It's nice because like once you look back, even like a year ago, you can really reflect and feel very accomplished. So
Also, the way that we're talking about this as well is in such a positive way. It's like, yeah, let's take a picture of this because later on it's totally not going to be like this. Right? Later on, we're going to have a much better life and stuff like that. Like, I noticed the way that you describe it, it's like you feel very optimistic about the future. You know what I mean? Like, the situation I'm in right now is just for now. And
yeah.
taking that picture also helps you to kind of convince yourself a little bit that that is what's going to happen. Right now, I'm taking this picture because this is probably one of the lowest times, the worst times, quote unquote. Right? And that's why I'm going to take this picture. And that was exactly why I didn't want to take the picture at that time, because I didn't know. I didn't have that. Well, I feel like I had the belief that everything would be much, much better later on. I guess I just didn't know. I didn't know how valuable those things would be later on.
But it's nice that you like keep it in your memory.
Yeah. Where you started from.
Yeah. Your origins.
Man, you remember that we had, if anybody missed the 90-minute art challenge where we were doing that still from Jingle Jangle with Hari from Vienna. Wow, he told some stories that humbled us all. Right? He told us stories of starting school where he's the dirty kid with no shoes on because he doesn't have money for clothes, and he doesn't have money for shoes. Things like that. Getting in trouble for drawing on his neighbor's property because he didn't have anything to draw on. He didn't have a piece of paper to draw on. Like now, where he is now, I bet you if I could somehow go into time and capture some of those images of him walking to school with no shoes on, with of him staring at a TV that's off because that's the only time his crappy friend would let him look at a TV was when there are no shows on it. Like those moments would be so priceless right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's really amazing what time can do. Like in the moment, you just feel like it's like nothing, it's progressing, but it's literally just like these little things, add up.
It all
And you just
bubbles
like,
up.
yeah, exactly.
I think like one of the ones that everybody will notice is from doing these 90-minute art challenges. I kid you not. This is a free challenge. I'm not trying to, this is really just for encouraging people to get better. If you do these challenges for 1 month, you will notice a noticeable difference in your everything about art. Seriously.
Yeah, I can attest to that. And, it sounds like I'm biased, but I believe that this has actually really helped me with painting digitally, like understanding of color,
Yeah.
shape language.
Oh, you've been
And like
doing
it's
so well.
thank you. And it's really cool that other artists join us because like last time when we had Carla on and how she was kind of explaining her painting process and thought process. I was like, oh, cool. Okay, I'm gonna apply that to my next study so that I can kind of like understand the way she sees studies. So I find a lot of value in that. And hopefully people find the value in like, seeing us paint and talk about our process and, what we think about like whatever it is that we're painting.
One thing that that I just want to point out is every time we're talking, I just notice like we keep talking about the things that we learned, the things that we're trying to learn, the things that are challenging to us. It's not us doodling twice a week. It's us really challenging ourselves to learn, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can learn when doodling, that I agree. But when you learn to draw, or when you draw to learn, or you paint to learn as your objective, you learn so much more.
I agree. And it's like, going back to stress. It's like it's stressful as heck, but you learn a heck of like just, many things about yourself, about painting, how much I don't know about certain things, which makes me want to learn about that. So
I remember at this point, I was not looking at your screen at all. So I didn't know that you were doing all this other stuff, by the way.
the little, or not the little, the big bunny and the person with the
Yes.
sword.
I remember I was just timing out my painting so I would be done in exactly 90 minutes.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah, I think I wanted to try to see like how much I know about lighting and color and if I can put my own character inside. I don't know if I was like super successful, but I did learn like, okay, maybe I should have made this, the light on the face a bit cooler so that it fits an environment or like the shape and all that. So next time I'd like to like do some things differently.
Or actually, why don't we go to Discord? We've been in Discord the whole entire time. You guys want to chime in? Anybody want to chime in about anything?
Hello.
Thank you for making the Discord.
Yeah.
Oh, our pleasure.
very-
Thanks to the
yeah.
Discord team for making it so awesome. Big shouts out.
Mhm.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hey, may I ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely.
My concern is that my paintings take a lot of time for me. I don't think, well, I hear people preaching so much that you have to be fast and efficient to get into the industry, whereas I spent, well, weeks on just one painting, and I wonder whether it's really, like, is it necessary to focus specifically and, like, exercise speed precisely, or will it just come in time and I shouldn't worry about it?
Miss A, you want to go on this? You've been going pretty fast, by the way.
Do you have an answer? I'm just trying to think
Sure.
about.
Okay, I love the whole entire idea of going slow. I love the whole entire idea of going slow to understand the things that you're painting. That's hugely important. After you understand, then start to speed things up. Try to consciously speed things up. Give yourself a little time, a time limit to finish whatever part of your painting, since your paintings take a long time. Perhaps just give yourself time limits to finish certain parts of your painting, or a day to finish this, and so on and so forth. When you think about it, if I asked you to paint a spaceship, you might take a long time. But if I asked you to paint this spaceship, take forever on it for the first one, take half the time on the second one, take half the time on the next one, until you get it down to, an hour or something, 3 hours, you might have painted that painting a lot of times, maybe 50, 100 times, depending on how slow you were to begin with. But once you get to that 50th or the 100th spaceship, and you don't have that much time, you'll be able to do it very quickly. You just will. Because you've gone through the process so much, you're very familiar with it. And that's what a lot of times slows us down. I remember reading this part in this awesome painter, Richard Schmidt, his book, and he was just talking about, now I just mix the paint that I want. I'm not thinking about glazing. I just found it's such a better method. I'm like, yeah, for you, because you know how to mix all these paints so darn well now. You don't need to go through that. But I feel like to get to his level, we would need to paint a lot of paintings, and maybe a bunch of them real slow in the beginning, right? Really understanding the things that we're doing before we speed up.
Okay, thank you very much. I think I will definitely try the repainting in half the time exercise. Thank you very much for the insight. Have a lovely day.
Right on, you too.
Yeah.
Actually, that is one of my assignments, by the way, everybody, in my digital painting class. It's fun. I ask people, okay, we're gonna sketch this in 20 minutes, or we're gonna sketch this room. I think it was like in an hour. Okay, we're done that. Next time, we're gonna sketch the same room in 20 minutes. But the thing about it is, as I'm sketching, I'm explaining everything that's going on in my head, and what am I not just painting, but what am I thinking, what am I visualizing, and I draw out my visualizations as well, so everybody gets a better understanding. Yeah.
Hello.
Hi.
I was wondering if does Schoolism work on mobile? On my phone, it doesn't seem to load any of the videos, and I was wondering if you know of a solution for that.
Oh, what kind of phone do you have?
I have the Samsung Galaxy S10.
You should be able to watch them on your mobile. I think, because it's not really my realm, help desk might give me shit if I say the wrong thing or whatever. Why'd you tell them that? It should be like this. So I think the best thing to do is just to email in at info@schoolism.com. They'll be happy to help you.
Okay, thank you. I have a lot of sort of downtime in between at my work, and I was like, it'd be so awesome if I could watch these, but it's just not loading. So thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else, everybody? Anybody?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
So I'd like to say that you're really great. Not just as an artist, but also as a person. I joined your Discord call last week, I think, and you were talking about, that artist that was struggling in her life and how her story inspired you to make, schoolism more available for people. And that's just really great, I'd like to say. And I'd also like to ask a question. So I saw your video about the 1% door, and you mentioned the getting up at 5 o'clock. So I like to ask you if you did that too, and did you keep that habit?
I love getting up really early before I have to work. It always becomes like one of the best days, right? Like so many of us, we save those last hours to do our own stuff or whatever. Now, yeah, I just save the best hours to do those things. Um, yeah, it really is a life changer. I used to just stay up late, right, and do all my work. I'm just gonna keep staying up till like 2, 3, 4 in the morning. But then I'd be tired. I remember trying to paint my own thing, and I'm like falling asleep in front of the monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you remember getting up, like the first time you got up at 5 o'clock?
It was dark.
Yeah. And did you have like something that made you actually get up? Because I did wake up a few times, like at 5 o'clock as I planned, but then it was hard for me to actually get up and, do something.
Yes. Give yourself something. Give yourself something that you can look forward to. You know, like the hardest times is when I've completed the task, or maybe that like I rendered all of that water now, and now it's onto the building or something. I don't stop there. I would do a bit of the building, right? And then I could get up and be like, oh yeah, yeah, I know exactly what to do with that building. I want to go and do that. Or post something. Um, Post something, don't look at the comments until you wake up that next morning, and maybe that's your reward for yourself.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And also, will there be a course about on character design on Schoolism?
Character design, yeah, I would take either Daniel Arriaga's class. He was the art director for Coco, and he won an Annie for his character designs. He's amazing. I would take that one. That one's for feature films. Or I would take Wouter Tulp's course on character design. Expressive characters. It's fantastic because it doesn't just teach you how to design a character and draw a character. It teaches you what you really need to know, which is not just designing the character, but designing the not just the look, but the personality, right? Because characters, they're like actors for films or shows. Like whoever's in charge is going to want to look at that character and see how do they act. Yeah, that really nails it. You know, that personality or whatever. Not just of how they look, because that's important too, but the expressiveness in the characters. And Wouter is, you know, he's incredible for that. Just incredible.
Thank you. And yeah, I joined you with the challenge, the 90-minute art challenge, and yeah, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Fantastic. Right on.
I just wanted to add to that whole like, how do you wake up in the morning? I just think about like, when you're like in elementary, for example, and there's a field trip the next day, and you're just like so excited like to go to it, like for me, it was like the zoo or like a ski trip. I remember in the morning, I would wake up at like such an early time, even though it's like hours down, like, you know, down the road, I would be like so excited. So like I didn't need an alarm clock and stuff. So I kind of think of it the same way as art. It's like, yeah, you gotta kind of like make yourself excited, a reason to wake up in order to get there. So I think just trying to like work that in your mind the night before, it gives you a reason to like be excited, actually get out of bed and, you know, start the day very early. Yeah. You just
Fantastic.
gotta be a kid again.
That really does help, you know, especially being an artist. It really helps
Yeah.
tapping into the kid side of you.
Yeah.
Well, this has been fantastic. Let's do some final comments on our two pieces.
Yeah.
Things that you found challenging, things that you would have loved to change, you know, how you might feel about your piece.
I wish I had the same blocky style on the rabbit with the like the whole environment, because I did such like hard edges, and then all of a sudden the bunny is like has like this soft brushy look. So I find that it's like slightly inconsistent. Also, I wish I kind of worked on the shadow on the rabbit. But other than that, I like how I did everything very a bit more graphic looking. So yeah, I enjoyed that painting.
This one I really enjoyed the atmosphere. You know, looking at the back and starting to paint from back to front, I really enjoyed having to think ahead and think, okay, I need to save these darker tones for the foreground. And I would work with a certain range for everything in the background. And I really enjoyed the whole stress of it all because Masay, you just started painting everything. You blocked in everything super quick. And I was just hang on to the background forever and ever. But it was okay because I did that on purpose, knowing, okay, I'm going to spend this much time in the background, this much time in the foreground, and so on and so forth. But to see you just cover everything very quickly and then start painting on top of it, that was really cool. That was really cool because it brought a new level of stress to me.
Yeah. Hopefully good stress.
It was awesome. It was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I loved the whole entire challenge of trying to break down those windows and try to make something that actually does feel like buildings from far away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the windows were the hardest. Now that I look at mine, it's like windows aren't aligned. But if you look far away and squint,
well,
it's
you did. There's a certain look to it, right? And it was consistent, so it works. But I do understand what you're saying about the bunny later on. And it is interesting as well because you have the atmosphere kind of lightening up as we go upwards, right? It thins out as you get towards the top of the tower. I thought that was neat too, because that is what's happening in the photograph, right? There's like something happening there where there's more of this atmosphere along the bottom.
Yeah, I wonder if it's because it's close to the water. And maybe more pollution. Yeah.
I was thinking reflective light, but then it feels like a combination of reflective light and atmosphere. Anyhow, that's the end of the stream today. Definitely join us on Friday for the Holly Jolly Paint-a-thon on Discord, on Lightbox Expo's Discord, where you will be paired up in groups where you can paint and draw 24 hours, creating a painting according to the theme that we give you on that day. The winning group we'll get a spotlight on Lightbox Expo social media all over the place, as well as an invite to come paint with us, with Magma. The whole entire group will be painting with us, and we'll do something fun together and have everybody live on the stream. I think that would be great. That is going to happen, of course, on Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 a.m. Pacific Time. Come join us. Should be good. All right, everybody. I just wanted to thank our audience. Oh, did you have something to say, Masay?
Yeah, our next stream is on Wednesday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like I'm just hijacking this whole stream, so I apologize, Masay.
Actually,
can
I think there's
something
one
very quick.
Okay, sure.
Just wanted to thank you all for this opportunity, and all the advice that you guys give is very helpful for all of us. So thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, it's very encouraging to hear as well. I hope everybody
Yes,
will.
thank you very much.
I hope you'll join us for the paint-a-thon as well. Should be fun.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome.
You guys
Also-
are the reason I get up early in the morning, because here it is. It was 6 a.m. here, so yeah, I had to get up really early.
That's awesome.
But that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so a big thank you to everybody that joined us, everybody in Discord, all the moderators in Discord. Thank you so much. Nancy is back, everybody, in YouTube and on Facebook. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you to my wonderful, amazing co-host every time. Masay, you are amazing. Thank you as well. All right, everybody. Sorry, cut you off. But next week, or on Thursday, it's going to be with Xuan Chan, our buddy in Singapore.
Before that, we have it with Andrea on Wednesday.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, okay, great. Sorry.
Yeah, but it's going to be live today. I mean, the schedule will be on.
Okay, surprise stream with the one and only Andrea Blasic, which we mentioned earlier in the stream. He sculpted for Oscar-winning movies like Brave and Spider-Verse, Into Spider-Verse, and who knows what else. So join us then, because what an opportunity to ask him some stuff. And is that it? I think we're good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tomorrow, right? Interview.
Oh, shoot. See, that's why I got all these amazing people helping me. Thank you, Patricia. The interview is with, I think it's Michael Ralph. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm checking. But I think it is so.
Yes, Michael Ralph.
Children's book. Yes, children's book illustrator Michael Ralph will be in the stream. Not on the stream, in the Discord channel tomorrow. And so follow us on Discord, and then you'll get all the announcements and things like that. Otherwise, is there anything else happening?
Every day there's happening.
Every day is something. Yeah.
Oh
we
my
will message you guys. Michael Ralph tomorrow.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.